put this song out years ago. And the fact that I'm saying right now, I'm just doing enough to get by. Lord, middle class, the money on my mind. Like, right now, I'm just doing enough to get by. Why is it 2024 going on 2025? And I feel like those same lyrics resonate. That should not be the case. And so you feel me? Got up out of there.
I've been hurting, but with purpose. I've been working on myself. I've been looking in the mirror like queen, ain't nobody else. Better than you, hotter than you. Better than you, hotter than you. Better than you, hotter than you. Girl, you top 2, and you not 2.
Kinfolk, what is good? It's your girl Ken, and I welcome you again to the Keys to Seeds podcast. This is episode 38, and wait, before y'all get on me for this episode being late, I just want to check in with y'all and catch y'all up to speed with what's been going on with me. What's been going on in my personal life. You feel me? Yeah. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. I be waiting to the last minute to record these episodes. I try to stay on top of it as much as possible, but I be procrastinating sometimes. And it's easy for me to procrastinate when I feel like I do not have control over what's going on in my life, right? And as I am following Christ, right? Follow me as I follow Christ. I am working on letting go of control. I'm always transparent with you all. I try to be as open and as honest as appropriate, right? I can't tell y'all everything as it's going on and taking place, right? But this is my safe space. And if you here tuning in, checking in with me, you're going the extra mile. You're going a step beyond just keeping up with me on social media. Press and play on a song even, right? So if we here, I'm assuming, you feel me, we locked in. That's why I start every episode with Kinfolk, right? Like, we family, right? Okay, so boom. I have been unemployed since September of 2024. It is now March, going on April of 2025. And as I just said, literally as of this week, things have been starting to shift. And again, I just procrastinate. This episode should have been out, but as far as this episode being out later than I expected it to then be out, knowing that it was going to be late, right? It's also partly because of the week that I have been having. It's now Friday as I'm recording this. The episode was supposed to drop this past Tuesday, right? But this past Monday of this week, I started class for a training that I am a part of. And I don't want to speak too much about it because I'm still going through it. And this also is not an episode about that. But just to let y'all in a little bit, right, I am currently pivoting and transitioning into a new career path. And I'm excited about it. I'm not going to lie. I am at the place now in my 20s. I will be 27 this year. I am at the place now in my 20s where I'm realizing, like, okay, time to grow up just a little bit more, right? And I've been wanting some more stability for myself. I kind of just been sitting with myself as I've been unemployed, just figuring out what it is I want to do with my life, right? And figuring out what I want to do with my life now that I am in a position where, although I went to college and I have a degree, I don't got nothing to show for it, right? And so it's been a little discouraging knowing that I have a degree and I have college degree debt. And I'm still finding myself in these positions where I'm just working jobs just to get by. And I knew that I did not still want that for myself. So again, as of this week, I am currently, just pivoting and making a transition. And so that's also why my schedule has been kind of crazy. And then too, this week, ironically, has been some home improvements within the living situation that I am in. And it is not my own place. And so it was unexpected. So I'm like, perfect week for things to be chaotic, right? This week has been chaotic, but it's been a blessing, but it's been chaotic. And so with that said, I believe that is the perfect segue into this episode. This episode is going to be me discussing and reflecting on my first project, Khaotic. As you all know, if you have been tuning in or if you're just now tuning in, if you don't know who I am at all, in addition to being a podcaster, in addition to being a follower of Christ, first and foremost, I am an artist. I make music. I have been releasing and pursuing music since 2018. It's now 2025. And as I now have a podcast, and I am also in a new era, if you will, as an artist, I kind of just wanted to take some very intentional time to move through my discography as an artist. And so the past few episodes have been me journeying through my singles, specifically the singles that I have released up to this point. I have been discussing those in chunks, right? And so now we are moving into the projects, and as we are moving into the projects, this is the first episode of me discussing my EPs, and my very first EP was Khaotic. Let's get into it. So, as I said before, I have been pursuing music since 2018, right? In 2018, I was 20 years old. I dropped Khaotic when I turned 21. And like I said, this project is my baby, right? From being 21 years old and that being 2019 to it now being 2025. And as I said before, this year I will be 27, right? The version of who I currently am as an individual, as an artist, of course, it is not my final form. I will continue to grow and I will continue to evolve. However, it's a fact to state that the version of who I am today as a person and as an artist is not who I was when I dropped this project, Khaotic, right? And so I love listening to my past releases to remind myself of who I am, right? And what I mean by that is when I hear myself, I'm reminded of the talent, the power, the capabilities, the ability that I have within me to express myself in the way that I do, right? And of course, I'm also reminded of, just the state of mind that I was in at the time that I created said piece of art, right? And so Khaotic, of course, because it's my first project, the first project that I ever put out, it's my baby. I love that project so much because it's my first project, right? Like, this was my, I'm here moment, right? And I made a tweet the other day and I said, I love Khaotic so much. It has a special place in my heart, not only because it's my first project, but because at that time, right, like first jumping into this, first you feel me, like pursuing music, deciding this is what I want to do, I held nothing back on them YouTube beats. I held absolutely nothing back on those YouTube beats. Khaotic is a project full of beats that I found on YouTube, literally just in my bedroom and listening to beats, feeling inspired to write, because I've always been a fan of music. I've always been a writer. And so that's what got me into making music, right? I wasn't going out here trying to find producers and buying beats. I was on YouTube. And if you know, you know, right? But I say that to say the process that I went through then as an artist, first starting out, right? It was such an organic process. And at that time, I quite literally was only making music because it was a passion. It was something that I loved and I enjoyed doing. And when I first started to write music, I didn't initially feel confident enough in sharing what I was writing with the world. And so when I worked up that confidence to then share it with the world, I still was at a place where I'm like, I'm doing this for me, but I think this is cool enough to share with y'all, right? And I say that because at that time, I was not really doing music for the validation of others. Like, that's not what I was seeking to get out of releasing my music. The validation kind of just came. And I feel like along the way, you know, I got wrapped up in, you know, making the type of music that I felt like was expected of me. And, you know, I felt as if I was, you know, losing myself within the process of chasing, you know, this career of being a full-time artist. And that was something that I convinced myself that I wanted because people validated me as much as they did first starting off, right? But I say all of that to say when I first decided that I wanted to pursue music, right? Khaotic is what came out of it. And I absolutely love Khaotic because, like I said, they were YouTube beats and I held nothing back. I was my 100% self at that time. As far as, you know, lyrical content and letting y'all in on where I was mentally, emotionally, spiritually, creatively, right? But then also too creatively, I feel like Khaotic is my most versatile project. I really feel like early on I showcased just how versatile I am as an artist. And I love that for me. I gave y'all raps. I gave y'all melodies. You feel me? I gave y'all the flows. I gave y'all the vibes. I gave y'all a love song. And I'm a lover girl. But if I'm being completely honest with y'all, I don't have a whole lot of experience to pull from. So writing love songs, it ain't really been my strong suit. But I gave y'all a love song because it was within me. And still to this day, a lot of y'all tell me that y'all favorite song by me is Who Do Y'all Love? I mean, who do y'all love? Who do you love? And I love that. I appreciate that, right? But I also love the fact that whenever I ask people or people tell me what their favorite song of mine is, I tend to get different answers. And I think that that's a testament of just how versatile I am as an artist. I also love this project because it has absolutely no features on it as far as other artists adding a verse, right? Of course, there were some individuals who contributed to the project beyond just, you know, the producers who made the beats that I got off YouTube, right? I had some skits and, you know, I had an individual add, you know, some ad libs and, right? So I got other people to contribute to the project, right? But I didn't reach out to nobody to add a verse to any of the songs that I put on Khaotic, and that was purposely done. I just loved creating music, and I love creating with other people, right? But I also had a point to prove with my first project. I wanted to let it be known that I can hold my own. And so that's another reason why I love Khaotic. I feel like the whole project, I was just popping it in this way, popping it in that way, popping it. And And the project is only on Bandcamp as of now, right? My artist name was originally American. I changed it. And so at one point I had music under my original artist name, and then I started to release music under my artist name that is now Kyndl. But I recently took everything off American and I started to upload it and re-release it under Kyndl. But there are some releases that aren't out on your Apple, your Spotify, wherever. And it's only on my Bandcamp. And Khaotic is one of those projects. I really did want to release this whole project again, but again, they were YouTube beats. They had samples, and yeah, they definitely got flagged because of the fact that it had been uploaded and you know, it was approved to release, right? Like that was then. But now trying to release it, yeah, they definitely caught it and flagged it. And so I wasn't even able to re-upload Khaotic. If it was up to me, Khaotic would be on your Apple, your Spotify, wherever. But it is only on Bandcamp. And so if you want to listen to it, if you want to buy it, if you want to support your girl, go get Khaotic on Bandcamp, kyndlmusic.bandcamp.com. And with that said, I have so many freaking CD inserts for this project. It's crazy. I'm not even going to show y'all the full stack that I have, but I do have one to show you. And this is the CD insert for it, right? Because the project is called Khaotic and I'm, you know, discussing the chaotic thoughts in my mind, right? That is what the cover art represents. And this is the track list cover art. When you open up the CD insert, this was the first thing you saw on the inside. Shout out to Howard Cook for the cover art. He killed this, bodied this, and yeah, if you want to insert, let me know, because I got hella. I need to press some more CDs though. So if you want a CD, let me know. If you want a CD, purchase the project on Bandcamp, and then you'll get the insert. But if you just want to insert, please let me know, because I have hella, like I said. But yeah, with that said though, we gonna finally move into each individual song. Yeah, not gonna wear. All right, so if I'm being completely honest with y'all, I'm gonna try to make this episode not too long. So I might go through this kind of quick, but of course, these are my babies. So I don't want to just say one word or, you know, just two words about the song, but I'm gonna try to keep, you know, my thoughts concise. And so let's see how quick we move through this without me, you know, getting to, you know, rambling off. Boom, track one, we got Silver Lining. Intro. Because I am a fan of music first, and I'm a rapper, so I'm a rap fan, right? I'm a hip hop fan. I know how important the intro is, the intro and the outro, right? And so off the bat, off rip, out the gate, on my mama, you feel me? I wanted y'all to know how I what. And so the very first song that y'all hear is just me, boom, rapping. And it's an intro, so it's just a verse, right? But I'm rapping. I'm rapping. And the mood, the energy, the inspiration, the thought process behind Silver Lining was, I really want to let y'all know, like, just out the gate, I really rap. And that was it. Off rip, I let it be known I can rap. And y'all validated me in that. They was like, oh, yeah. We still want that. We still want them bars, shorty. I said it, say less. And so that was just the mood, the inspiration behind Silver Lining. I'm like, all right, boom. I'm coming off bat, out the gate, swinging. That was the intro. That was the mood. That was the vibes. That was the energy. And I felt like I brought that. And so I came in just popping it, right? And I also want to say that I know for a fact this song inspired another artist in a way that is very integral. Is that the word I'm looking for? This song inspired an artist that I am no longer friends with, but they told me, because you did the mic check 1, 2 thing at the end of your song, that's why I say that now in my songs. And I was like, oh, interesting. And at the time we was friends. And so I was like, okay, cool. Whole time I got that from MC Light. My mic sounds nice, check 1, right? But now, we're no longer friends. And that's fine, right? But it's always interesting, you know, when people, you know, like to switch up and, you know, say things like, oh, this individual is jealous of me. And just me reflecting on this song, me being in such an authentic, pure space as an artist, just flowing, just creating, right? It's a great reminder to know that even when I felt like I didn't even know what I was doing for real, right? I still was inspiring somebody else. And people tell me all the time how much they love my music and how much they love my first project specifically. A lot of artists, when they first start to, you know, pursue and release music, right? A lot of artists, they aren't even proud of, you know, the first songs, you know, that they record and, you know, they release. Me, that ain't my story. And maybe it might partly be because I was, you know, writing music before I built up the confidence and the courage to release it, right? Like, I wasn't that much of a new artist. I was refining, right? You know, my gift in private, you know, before I went public with it, right? But I'm proud of my early releases, and it's a great feeling, which is, you know, my last point and the point that I was making. It's a great feeling to know that as I reflect on that time in my life, especially as an artist, when I felt like I still didn't even really know what I was doing for real, it was inspiring. At least one person. But I know it was also inspiring other people. And it shows in how much love I receive as an artist. And so I appreciate it. I wouldn't be the artist that I am today in 2025 if it wasn't for that validation and embrace. And so, yeah, that's silver lining. All right, so boom. Who do you love? Track number 2, you know, me and you feel me? 2 lovebirds, you feel me? 2 peas in a pie, you feel me? Type vibes. Who do you love is the Lover Girl song on the project. And the thing about reflecting on that song is, if you really pay attention to the lyrics, I was definitely giving off codependent vibes. Like, I want you to want me. Like, I need you to want me and to love me. Like, I need that. Like, I need that. I don't know, maybe because I know that I'm a recovering codependent, like, when I listen to that song, it kind of gives like, girl, why was you that desperate? But I think it's still a cute love song. I do still love that song. I do still love that song. It came from a place, though, of yearning for someone who I felt like I had, what's the word? Is that unrequited love? Like, I genuinely had feelings for someone and wanted to know if they felt the same way, because I really wanted them. But I also now know that I was trying to get my needs met through this person. And yeah. But I love Who Do You Love? I do. And I am still a lover girl at heart. And I can't think of the song by Tink, but I know that Tink has a song where she uses the same sample. And I remember when she first dropped it, so many people was like, girl, Tink stole your beat. Tink stole your beat. I said, child, one, it's just a sample thing. Two, like I said, I got that beat off YouTube. But yeah, and it was important for me to create a song like a Who Do You Love and, you know, put that on the project because, again, I wanted to showcase my versatility and I wanted to introduce y'all to the vibes early, right? Like, I gave y'all straight out the gate bars on the intro, and then immediately after that I started singing. And so yeah, like, if I had to choose a project that I feel like best represents me as an artist, it's definitely Khaotic. But yeah, I love Who Do You Love. The song was inspired by an actual person. It was inspired by two people, actually. But yeah, that's Who Do You Love. Next, we got Start Out Till You Come Up, Pray For It Come Up, Pray For It Come Up, nigga, Pray For It Come Up, nigga, Pray For It. Fun fact, those ad-libs, shout out to Hive. Hive is featured on Guarantee, which is on my project, Capped. As I said before, the Come Up was the first song that I ever released, right? That was a completely different version. That was the original version. The version that I first dropped as the Come Up, right? Of course, that was the original. But knowing that I wanted to put the song on Khaotic, I'm like, I don't just want to put the same song on there. Like, I kind of got to bring, you feel me, a little, And so shout out to Hive. He added the little, you feel me, Pray For It Come Up. Hey, yeah. I don't know, just the ad-libs and the back end that he gave to it. Like, it just, you feel me, elevated it in the way in which I wanted it to be elevated. And so, again, shout out to Hive. That was my idea. I was like, hey, bro, I just want you to go back there and, you feel me, add this with, you feel me, the energy that I know that you will bring to it. And then not only did he bring the energy through the ad-libs, he brought the energy through the skit at the end, which then transitioned into, you feel me? Yeah, like, the Come Up is the first song that I dropped. And so, again, like, it's my baby within my baby. Like, it's literally like the first baby of mine, right? Like, Khaotic, that's my baby, but the Come Up, that's my baby. You feel me? Like, that's the firstborn for real. And so I love the Come Up, and it was important for me to write a song that I felt like a lot of people could relate to, right? Like, I feel like when you listen to rap, when you listen to a lot of music that's, you know, popular today, right? Like, it might sound good, it might be a vibe, but like, y'all rapping about things I can't even afford. You feel me? Like, I wanted to make something where someone could listen to it and be like, dang, like, I felt that. You feel me? Like, and if I'm being completely honest, I have, like, throughout the years felt very, like, insecure about how heavy I perceive my music to be, right? Because I do understand that people also like to listen to music and want to listen to music, right? That's going to take their mind off of the fact that, you feel me, they got these bills due and they don't really got the money for it right now. You feel me? But me personally, music has always been my outlet. You feel me? And so I can only speak from where I currently am with the first song on the project. I'm letting it be known I'm depressed. And I'm popping it in a way where it's still, you feel me, hard, but first track, I'm letting y'all know I'm depressed. Second song, I'm letting y'all know I develop, you know, feelings of, you know, romantic interest and, you know, attraction, you know, towards someone. And sometimes I'm, you know, afraid of letting that be known because I'm not really sure if they feel the same way. And so that was the inspiration behind Who Do You Love? And so now, boom, the Come Up, like I said, the very first song that I ever released, I'm like, I feel led to release this because I know that what I just penned, I am not the only person feeling like this and going through this. And so I also felt like the fact that I released something that was super relatable, right? Like, knowing that a song that's relatable to a lot of people was my first single, I felt like that was something that worked in my favor. That was why a lot of people gravitated towards me as an artist, because I just came out the gate being vulnerable, being honest. And as an artist, like, that's what you want in order for people to relate to you. Like, your music might not be for everybody, but your people are going to find you. And I love listening back on that song because, like I said, like I held nothing back. And I remember at the last job that I was just at, right? Because I just mentioned to you all, right, that I've been, unemployed for the past few months. Literally, right before I left that job, what really led me to leave that job was the fact that at that job, because it was so, just monotonous, I had a lot of time, to spend, just in my own thoughts and, just thinking about, the fact that I have plans to, release new music, but also, I'm considering where I presently am, right? Like at a job that I don't really want to be at. And I remember the lyrics to the Come Up came to my mind. And I'm like, the fact that I wrote this song in 2018, released it 2019. If I'm not mistaken, I wrote it in 2018, right? But my point is, I put this song out years ago. And the fact that I'm saying right now, I'm just doing enough to get by. Lord, middle class, the money on my mind. Like, right now, I'm just doing enough to get by. Why is it 2024 going on 2025? And I feel like those same lyrics resonate. That should not be the case. And so you feel me? Got up out of there. And so that's also something that my own music does for me. I love listening to my music to, not only hear, just sonically, musically, how I can grow and improve and how I have, but, right, I also tap into, where I was when I wrote and recorded and, released said song. And I can either be proud of my growth or be like, dang, I still think about, or I still think that same way a little bit, you feel me? And to be able to, you feel me, be self-aware and self-reflect and, admit those things is a blessing. And so, yeah, that's the Come Up. All right, so boom. As I said, the end of the Come Up has this skit that transitions into Snakes in the Grass. And I did not tell Hav word for word what to say. I just gave him, you feel me, like the idea of what I wanted and what I was going for and how it was going to transition into Snakes in the Grass. And so, again, he brought the energy, he did what he needed to do. And so essentially, you feel me, at this point in the project, I'm telling the story of, you feel me, dang, I'm struggling. I don't want to be struggling, but I'm like soaking in it a little bit, you feel me? And I'm being reminded of the fact that, like, nah, girl, you can't do that. You feel me? And from the point of view of the skit, right, he like, nah, bruh. We not working these jobs that's paying pennies anymore. We finna go rob and steal. As a follower of Christ, I do not condone that. But, like, as I'm reflecting on this now, a point that I want to make is it's important to get yourself up out of that depressing state, because the more vulnerable you are, right, emotionally, right, unhealthy you are, right, the easier it is for people to sniff that out and then take advantage of you. And I say that because when I reflect on this project as a whole, I was not in the best space mentally, emotionally, spiritually. And that was something that other people perceived. And I mention that because we are now talking about snakes in the grass, right? It's like it's hard to identify the snakes in the grass when, walk with me, you yourself are a snake. You might not be snaking other people, right? But, like, you don't even realize the own deception that you are in when you are not emotionally healthy and, mentally, spiritually healthy, right? And so that was just the Holy Spirit. That was not where I originally wanted to go with that, but yeah, boom. Snakes in the grass. I am essentially just talking about the fact that I feel like people around me, they fake. You feel me? But also at that time, you know, as we're just speaking on, you know, just emotional health and, you know, discernment, right? I feel like a lot of times too, part of the issue was because of the fact that I just had the wrong people around me. And if I had better discernment, had I been a little bit more healed, right? And, you know, I love and appreciate that version of myself that I was then, because she has helped me get to who and where I now am, right? But yeah, like, it's like, girl, like, you got snakes around you because you're choosing to have snakes around you. Also, though, there's a skit, or not even a skit, but like a little audio piece added at the end. And ironically, that individual was a snake. But again, had I had better discernment, had I trusted myself a little bit more, I would have known that that individual was a snake. And so, yeah, we're going to expand more on that in the next song, which is Tortoise and Hare. Me having a song called Tortoise and Hare means so much to me, because I did not intentionally go into creating this song thinking, oh, because I'm a rapper and storytelling is an important part of hip hop, right? Oh, I'm gonna make a song about the story that we all are familiar with, which is the tortoise and the hare. Like, that was not what I consciously like went into it, you know, thinking about. But now on the back end, I'm like, it's dope that I got a song called Tortoise and the Hare. And again, we all know the story of, you know, the tortoise and the hare. And again, storytelling is an important part of hip hop. And so I love Tortoise and the Hare for that reason. But I also, again, was, you feel me, popping it. And I feel like I really ate with the way in which I ordered the track list as well. And so at this point, you feel me, we picking the energy back up. And again, I was just popping it. I started the song off with nga-ra-ra, nga-ra-ra, nga-ra-ra. That was inspired by Currency, fun fact. And in the second verse, I mentioned a few artists. I mentioned Lil B. I mentioned Master P. I mentioned Mobb Deep. And that also wasn't something that I consciously, you feel me, like, wanted to do. But as I was, you know, reflecting on Tortoise and the Hare specifically to record this episode, I'm like, dang, like, I love the fact too that I've been wearing, you feel me, my influences on my sleeve. And as we are discussing, you know, pillars of hip hop, right, in addition to storytelling, I think it's important, you know, as artists, for us to mention and acknowledge who inspires us. Because, you feel me, one day they gonna grow old, and you feel me, they're not gonna be here. And right, like, I'm big on giving people their flowers. And so me as an artist who was a fan of music first, right, like, it's important for me to name and acknowledge, and you feel me, like, let it be known in some way, shape, or form who my influences are, right? And so just going back to the first song, right, with me mentioning the fact that I know that I inspired another artist, I ain't even mad. You feel me? Like, we all take inspiration from, you feel me, other people to some extent. You know what I mean? And yeah, I just thought that was dope, because I'm like, that wasn't intentional, but I'm like, dang, I named a few artists in this song. And shout out to all of them. Talking Greasy is also expected. I'm like, y'all look like leftover food left on dirty dishes. Now listen, when I say I was popping it, I was popping it. I'm like, dang, I was a little road. I was talking a little crazy, but like, I also feel like that's expected in hip hop. So yeah, I feel like that was a conscious thing that I did at that time. Like, yeah, like, let me get in this bag too real quick. You feel me? Like, don't let the pretty face, baby face fool you. Also, another thing I want to touch on before I move into the next song, I mentioned at that time I was still a virgin, 21 years old. And I was still 21 when I lost my virginity. And it was a couple months after I dropped the project. And I don't know if I've publicly said this, but I did not consent. The losing of my virginity was not consensual. And ironically, the person who took my virginity is incorporated on this project. If you able to put two and two together on who that was, who that snake in the grass was. But yeah, it's all good though. Not that that was a good thing that happened, right? But it's not something that still, heavily affects me, impacts me today. But yeah, I also wrote that in my notes to add because I'm in a place now where I can say that. And again, I don't know if I've ever publicly said that, but yeah. And I am grateful and I am blessed to be still moving at my own pace, moving on the time that God has for me to move on. Honestly, truly, like, I cannot complain. Even when I'm in those hard, difficult seasons, unemployed, feeling lost, feeling discouraged, I still get what feels like, I call them kisses from God. Like, I still feel that kiss on my cheek. Like, I see why you did that, God. I see you, I feel you, you know what I mean? And so, again, I can't complain. I'm blessed. And yeah. So boom, the next song we about to get into, which is the second to last song on the project, which might be my personal favorite, I ain't gonna lie, is Under Pressure. At this point of the project with this song, right, I'm still letting y'all know I'm depressed. I feel like I've said it in one way, in more than one way throughout this entire project, right? But I've been flexing the fact that I'm still creative and I'm still resilient. And so we gonna get these raps off. We gonna get these melodies off. We gonna get these harmonies off, all of the things, right? And so I don't know why I feel like my voice just went out all of a sudden. Probably because I'm doing too much talking. We finna wrap this up though. Under Pressure is my personal favorite because of just how melodic and lo-fi it is. Like, I tend to go for the melodic lo-fi, like type beats. Speaking of lo-fi, something that I forgot to mention for Who Do You Love specifically, right? As we're also talking about, harmonies and whatnot. Shout out to J Dilla, because I shout out to J Dilla. I shouted out J Dilla at the end of Who Do You Love, and I forgot to mention that. Love Dilla, one of my favorite producers, and of course, Who Do You Love? Dilla. If you know, you know. But yeah, again, I love lo-fi type of production, and so when I came across the beat for Under Pressure, I was like, oh yeah, I need this. Like, I immediately was moved to write to it. And again, I've never been afraid to be vulnerable and open and honest with y'all about who I am and what I got going on. Like, I love the fact that my first project was a very much so in your face, this is who I am as a person, as an artist, take it or leave it. You feel me? And so I love Under Pressure because it essentially was just a heart on my sleeve, type of song, in a way that was a little bit more in depth than, a Who Do You Love? And I also feel, not a Who Do You Love, the Come Up. I feel like the Come Up, you feel me, it was very much so like, exactly what I'm saying is exactly what I mean, right? Like, there's no confusion within anything that I'm saying with the Come Up. I feel like the message of it was very straightforward. Under Pressure, I feel like the message of it also was straightforward, but I feel like, what am I trying to say? I feel like Under Pressure, it's a little bit more of an introspective vibe. There's an added layer of like introspection added to it, right? Like, the Come Up is me discussing the fact that I'm trying to be, you feel me, up. And I feel like I'm down. And I feel like Under Pressure, I feel like I got more into depth on why I'm down, why I'm feeling down, right? And so again, I also just love how it sounds musically and, you know, sonically. And the title of it was partially inspired by Logic. At that time, I was listening to Logic heavy. And I remember I wrote this song when I was still in college. And that was a very depressing time for me, to give y'all context. I'm like, I don't want to go to school. I don't want to go to school. I don't want to work for nobody and work for pennies, right? Like, I just was like, I'm depressed. I don't know what I want to do. I just know I want to make music. And that was where I was when I made that song. And also, fun fact, I recorded a music video for this song that I never received. I ain't gonna say no names, but yeah, they spun me. Never got the video. But also, speaking of videos, the only other song on Khaotic that I shot a music video for was The Come Up, and I forgot to mention that when I was talking about The Come Up. So yeah, it's a music video out for The Come Up. Shout out to 1 Million. And yeah, that's all I got. Last but certainly not least, the outro of Khaotic, we got Chosen. And again, Khaotic is my baby, so all of these songs are my babies. I love all of them, all for different reasons. But of course, I love Chosen because it's the outro. And whenever you have a body of work, that intro and that outro is very important. And with this outro, I'm like, I really just wanted to end, you know, thematically, right? Knowing what story this body of work tells, right? And letting y'all in on, you know, what goes on in my mind, what's in my heart, right? Who I am at this point in time, right? It was important for me, one, to have a song for myself, to remind myself that regardless of the depression, the anxiety, whatever struggles I might be having, right? It was important for me to, even early on, I was affirming myself, you know, telling myself I'm chosen. I'm chosen. I would not be going through all of what I'm going through if I wasn't. And I can admit that in earlier years of my life, although times were very dark and heavy, and I felt like there was no light at the end of the tunnel, I always saw and felt like there was a very small light at the end of it. And because I just saw like a speckle of it, I feel like that is what has helped me to continue moving forward. Before getting to a place of giving God my yes and taking my relationship with God more serious, right? That faith was more so just a seed of optimism. I'm like, I don't know how, I don't know when it's going to get better, but I'm like, something got to be better than this, you know? And I'm like, I know that something has to be better if I know that I have within me this dope talent. I have this, you know, creativeness, you know, within me. And creating is a very spiritual process. And me creating music, it truly brings me joy. And again, music is my outlet. And so at that time when I wrote Chosen, all of what I was feeling, all I could do at that point in time was put it in the music. And as I'm, you know, creating music, going through, you know, my struggles, right? I'm like, knowing that I love music, I have to create a song to remind myself, like, regardless of the fact that the light at the end of the tunnel just seemed like a little speck, I'm chosen. 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 And it's so ironic to me because at this point in time, my latest single is Affirmations. Go get that, by the way. It's just crazy to me and ironic to me that as I reflect, you know, on past releases with my very first project, Khaotic, this outro, right? I'm telling myself I'm chosen. And at that time, I was not where I now am, walking with God. And I see and I feel God's presence in my life even more than where I was then. And at that time, I didn't feel God. I didn't know God. You know what I mean? I knew religion, but I knew that I was chosen. I knew I was made for more. And yeah, chosen, it just has a very special place in my heart. And as I'm looking at my lyrics, I wrote down, ambition for me came from a place of wanting to get out of poverty. And I feel like that's also the story that's being told throughout this project, right? Like, I have this hunger, I have this drive, I have this ambition within me, but it stems from a place of being depressed. And I'm depressed because of the circumstances that I grew up in. I always felt like I had to work 10 times hard just to have an ounce of success, right? And so that dream, that idea I had in my mind of wanting to pursue music full time, it came from a place of just wanting to make music and be seen, be heard, and have my talent pay me. Because it's hard as an artist, as a creative, to not feel worthless as an artist, as a creative, if it's more so treated like a side hobby, because it's not something that you can financially pursue full time. I can't afford to just pursue music as my 9 to 5 because it's not paying me in that way, right? And so it was also important for me to write, this song to just, reassure myself in knowing that regardless of how things look, you're chosen. And it's a blessing. I'm grateful to know that I have a gift and I have a talent that not everyone has. And of course, there's other rappers and there are other singers and, there's other artists out here, but they not me. They can't make what I make, right? And so, yeah. Also, I mentioned in the song, I said, or I'm not mentioning specific lyrics, but I wrote in my notes is, my ambition also comes from a place of having love for others and wanting to put others in position. I also speak in the song, on the fact that, I want to, get my mom out the hood. You know what I mean? Like, I want to look out for my cousin. I want to look out for my brother. And I feel like as a recovering codependent, I can definitely say that I feel like over the years, I've been in that, savior, complex, like trying to save everybody, trying to heal everybody, trying to fix everybody. And really that was me just avoiding facing myself, right? Like, because I can't sit with myself and meet my own needs, I'm trying to meet everybody else's needs. And of course, I do still have the goal of, making it to a place of success where I am able to reach back and, be a blessing to other people. But I can genuinely say I'm at a place in my life now where, I feel like a weight is off of my shoulders because I'm not worried about showing up for everybody else more than I show up for myself. I am showing up for me now, and I'm showing up for those who show up for me. Period. And yeah, we love us a good monologue. Still within, you feel me, the pattern of, adding, the skits and, whatnot. Also, shout out to my best friend, Ashanta. She added a little, you feel me, 1-2 at the end of Tortoise and Hair. Was it the Tortoise and Hair? Yes, it was the Tortoise and Hair. Shout out to Ashanta. I forgot to mention my sis. Sis, I love you. Did I wrote that in my notes? Did I write that? I be trying to stay locked in with y'all and not look over at these notes, but that be the thing. I be forgetting things. But yeah, shout out to Ashanta, my good sis. She was like, girl, we get it. You can rap, but we want you to go on, move on. Okay, what else? And I feel like that's also a thing to mention and touch on. I feel like at this point too, as I've matured as an artist, I realize nobody cares that you can really rap anymore. It's okay, the industry is not just about talent. And it's not just about if you can rap. Can you make a song? Knowing how to rap and knowing how to make a song are two different things. And also, as I reflect on Khaotic, I think about the fact that before making music, I was writing poems. And I literally was learning song structure as I was making Khaotic, right? And if I'm not mistaken, not only is Silver Lining, which is the intro, and because it's the intro, it's kind of like, okay, cool, it's only one verse on here, right? If I'm not mistaken, Snakes in the Grass also is just one long verse. At that time, I was still learning song structure and how to, you feel me? And I feel like because I've gotten like so like locked in within the structure of, you know, a song being a hook, a verse, a hook, a verse, a hook, right? Like I'm just now getting out of that, right? Like after Khaotic, I was like, oh, okay, cool, boom. I feel like I know how to structure a song now. I know how to write a song and not just have a long verse, which was really just a poem. You know what I mean? Like I know how to structure a song now, but I'm just now starting to get to a place where I'm realizing a song doesn't have to be the traditional, like I said, hook, verse, hook, verse, hook. Just now getting out of that. But yeah, if I had to give any takeaways, it would be, don't be afraid to tell your story. Don't be afraid to be vulnerable. And in being authentic and showing up as your true self and offering the world all of what you have within you to offer the world, you will then feel free and affirmed and gain community and support with those who resonate with your truth and your honesty and your authenticity. And I am so grateful to be even more confident in who I am. And obviously, inevitably, as an artist, I am so excited to continue creating and releasing music. And yeah, as I said, who I am now is not who I was then, but I love and I appreciate who I was then. And what I gave y'all then with Khaotic is still a hit, it's still a bop. And again, make sure y'all go get that on my Bandcamp, kyndlmusic.bandcamp.com. I got hella inserts. If you want one, if you need one, let me know. Also, well, I got it right here. I also have these inserts from, or not inserts, these flyers that I pressed to promote my release show for Khaotic. As you can see, it says Friday, September 20th. I ain't put no year on it. Dang. I didn't put a year on it. But yeah, this was 2019. And shout out to C-Dub. He was an opener. Shout out to Vonnie Traps. He was the opener. And it says Lyric. He ended up not being able to perform. But shout out to Nora the Goat. He ended up being the other opener for that show. Shout out to Draft Pick. He was the DJ for the release show, and Draft Pick, he's always shown love. And yeah, if y'all want one of these two, let me know. My next show is April 4th. And yeah, that's all I have for y'all. I love y'all. I will see y'all in the next episode, and we're gonna be getting into Cat. I'll see y'all in the next episode. Bye.